As I said before, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, and welcome to the Kentico User Group presentation on the highly anticipated new release, Kentico 11. My name is Virgil Carroll. I am from HiMonkey, one of the sponsors of the Kentico User Group, and I'm just going to do a couple of logistical and introduction things, and then I'm going to turn it over to Jessica, who's going to walk us through the demo. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, the Kentico User Group is an effort to try and get more community interaction around the Kentico product line. You can always visit us on the web at kenticousergroup.org. Not only do we try to do an occasional webinar where we kind of have it more to a global audience, but also there are many individual local area Kentico user groups around the US, Europe, Canada, and many other places that have been starting up. You can find out information about those individual locations and their upcoming sessions. I know that coming up very soon, Wisconsin has one coming up, so if you happen to be from that area, you might want to attend that one. But we're really trying to encourage more community involvement and participation, so feel free to visit us on the website there. Logistically, this is a listen-only mode webinar, so Jessica will be talking and you will be able to listen. If you have a question, there is a Q&A panel that you can ask a question inside. We're going to try and answer questions at the very end. If we end up that we have a lot of questions, what we're going to do is probably take a few highlighted questions and answer them at the end, and then we will do our very best to answer the questions after the webinar. And when we post the video of the webinar up on the Kentico User Group site, we will inform everybody, and we'll try and have the Q&A on there as well so that you'll be able to reference that going forward. So thanks and welcome again. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jessica MacRoberts. Jessica MacRoberts is the Territory Sales Manager for the North Central region of Kentico and has been with Kentico for the last 3 years. I've worked with her personally for those 3 years and has been working in the industry for about 6 years in the web and digital space. Jessica is one of the best demoers I know out there. We work a lot together, and we're really looking forward to her bringing into Kentico 11, which is going to be releasing next week, and sharing with us some of the new exciting features that are coming along with it. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Jessica.
Thank you, Virgil, and good morning to everybody. So today's time really going to be focusing on Kentico version 11 and all the new changes and enhancements to the features and functionalities from within. So as Virgil had noted, then absolutely feel free to put your questions into the questions and answer area as we go through, and we'll absolutely try to get to those by the end of today's time. And then we can also do any follow-ups with you as well. So the first area and major component that I want to focus on within version 11 is the GDPR. So some of you may be familiar with what this is, as we've had a number of different webinars and series on this subject specifically, and a lot of people associate it with being within the European region. Now, GDPR does stand for General Data Protection Regulations, and it is being enforced in May of 2018. Europe region. However, this is also going to heavily influence even those businesses within the US, as it really is around data protection. So I'm going to first kind of demonstrate some of the features and functionalities that we have put into Kentico to ensure that you are able to stay compliant with their regulations, and also just for any regulations and data compliance that move into the United States. So as I'm demonstrating here, I'm simply on my home page within my Dancing Goat site. So this is probably something that a lot of people are familiar with if you've ever had a demo with Kentico in the last couple of years, and this is strictly just our demo site. And within here, you'll notice that I have as a web part that I've associated here to be in compliance with the GDPR in regards to letting them know that we are only storing cookies if they agree to the terms. So we are not automatically storing any cookies or activities from the users. So I can either agree with this, or I can go ahead and simply leave it as is and go about my day and say that I don't want them to actually store any of my data that I'm doing on the website. And as I go in through here, then you also have the ability to add it onto forms. So as I'm on my home page here, I can navigate to my contact page. And as I navigate down within here, you'll see send us a message. Now, as I log in as an actual user who is belonging to our website called Alex, then you'll notice that that same form now has an additional field associated to it as he's within a specific group. So now we're saying that, hey, are you interested in a machine rental? So now he can click on this machine rental form as he is within our partnership persona that we have or role within our organization. And now we have this form, which is also utilizing some cookies stating or some data protection measures for him to opt into receiving marketing email correspondences. So this is another part of the GDPR compliance in which organizations are going to have to be held to within the European region, or if you do any business in Europe, you will also have to have these measures into effect. So now he can simply go ahead and say, I want the Deco Tall Cup and I want to go ahead and rent this for 1 year. He can put in some information, need for a new shop. And he can go ahead and accept within here, or he can simply say, I don't want to be included in any marketing emails. So I can go ahead and send this off. So now, because he hasn't actually done anything in regards to saying that he wants to be tracked and not providing any of this information, if I go ahead and navigate into my back end of my website here, I'll go ahead and simply log in. And within here, and I go into our groupings, now we do also have as a contact group. So for those that are not familiar with our online marketing capabilities, we do have contact groups and segmentation capabilities from within. And within this contact group, I specifically have those that have the machine rental applicants. So as I navigate into here, you'll see that I have as a couple different contacts. Or actually, they haven't actually gone in yet. So go back in. And he should have filled out the form, so it should be in here. I'm still in the beta version, so sometimes it works within IE and some things work within Chrome at this moment. So as you can see, I only have my actual one here for a few days. But as we go in here, then you would see the machine rental applicant, so he would get put into here. And then if I go into our contact management, then you'll notice that I have a number of anonymous users, and Alex is going to be one of those users. Now, if I go into that contact, then he's going to actually have no activities that have been tracked with them because he simply hasn't provided the permissions to go ahead and do so. So here we have is Alex. So we know that he has Alex at localhost because he filled out that form, and he's still an anonymous user because he has identified that he does not want to be tracked, or he has indicated that he agrees to anything. So now if we go underneath activities, you can see that there's no activities found. However, now if I go back into my site and I go ahead and say click agree, and I start performing different activities, these will start to log within the system underneath the activities within the contact management. However, if he ever decides that he wants to revoke his consent, he can simply go to his privacy page, and here he can go ahead and simply revoke this. So this allows you to be very data compliant as to what he wants to be allowed to show within here. And now if we go into the activities, then we'll go ahead and update, and it'll show the couple of different activities that he did from within. So that is one area within the GDPR and just being able to protect that data. Now, one of the other big areas that have been changed within Kentico 11 is the email marketing component. So now I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate within there. So let me go back into my actual site here and go into my email builder. So now within the email marketing component, then I have a number of different email feeds, just as you've seen within version 10. Now when I go into one of our newsletters here, and I go into my new Brazil coffee in stock, which is in a draft state, then you'll notice that I have different widget components. So this now allows for business users and marketers to go ahead and easily build out email templates and put these in a form that they want to. So you can build a number of different templates. I have a 3-column one and a 2-column one, which are just utilizing widget spaces and zones, just like the portal pages that you're used to within Kentico. So now I can go ahead and simply drag and drop and move a header into here, and I can simply go ahead and write a header within the headline. So new coffee, and apply this. Then now I simply have as a header, and this is going to be all in there. Now I do also have the ability to go into any of these areas and say I want to go into one of my components down here, or actually this one here. Then I have is a CTA button. So here I can simply change the color from blue to red as well, and simply go ahead and apply this. So now you can make basic changes. Also for the A/B testing, now you can go ahead and change those colorations without having going into the HTML or making any of those modifications. You do have the ability to also add additional widgets in addition to the ones that are provided out of the box with you for Kentico, which is very easy to do. Most developers can create them very easily so that the marketers and business users can reutilize these within the email builder. Now, in addition to the email builder, there's also a couple of other areas that we have enhanced, one of them being the preview section. So as I go into the preview section of my website, now we also have is a mobile preview. So here I can go ahead and see what it's also going to look like on mobile devices. And I can also see what it's going to look like for specific recipients. So if you do have any type of personalization or anything within these emails in the content, then you can also see, okay, well, I know that Monica King is a part of a specific persona, so maybe the image or the details or something updates for her that we could see what her actual personal view is going to be like, or her experience within here. Within here, you can also easily identify the email source, so you can look at all the source for this specific email from a coding perspective. Now, in addition to this, then we also have enhanced some additional areas. So we do also have this plain text area, so you can also create a plain text version of your email in the text area below. So this will be for any devices that automatically default to a plain text view opposed to an HTML view. So you can go ahead and add that there. And then you have all your email properties from within here. So it is a little bit different from what everybody is used to using within version 8 and version 9, as well as version 10, the way that things are configured within here. But within the email properties, this is where you can go ahead and assign your name, your subject, your sender name, your sender email address, as well as we have expanded the pre-header area. So now you can add in some more characters from within here. And then we can also choose what template we're utilizing for this specific one. However, our newsletter is automatically associated to our template-free zone, so that's the only template that's going to be available for a newsletter. And then you can also choose to tag this email links with UTM parameters. So you can go ahead and check this box, and you can go ahead and create your different UTM source, medium, as well as campaign parameters from within. And then you still have is the A/B testing. So here you can simply create another variant of this piece of content, just like in previous versions of Kentico. Now within Kentico, another one of the major updates and releases, it was in regards to some of the campaign areas. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into our campaigns within our online marketing capabilities and go into here and show you some of the enhancements that we've done from within. So all those that are familiar with version 10, then you'll see that this view is very familiar to you. Anybody that was previous to version 10, then this is going to look a little bit different for you, as we have made some enhancements in version 10 for the campaign management as well. So within here, I have a couple of different campaigns. I have one that's currently running, one that's scheduled, one that's in a draft stage, as well as one that's finished. Now we've made some enhancements to the actual reporting itself, so I'm going to go into one that has been finished. And now from within here, you'll notice that I have Twitter with a little plus button. So now I can have multiple different Twitter posts that are going to be associated to this campaign, and I can see which posts did better, which ones had the higher conversion rates associated to them. And now we can go back and look at that post content or that email content and see why did it maybe perform a little bit better from within. Now also, if we go into our campaign journey, then within here, then you can also see all the additional details provided. However, now you also have the ability to click on the summary number of contacts for each area. And within here, then I can see all the different contacts that were generated based on this campaign. However, I also have the ability to do a graphical representation. Now within my beta version, we still haven't gotten all the tests in the sample data provided. However, this will provide you like a heat map type area of all the different areas that they came from. So we could see exactly where our audience and who actually converted from this campaign and where their location was from within, as well as their persona and gender information. So if they did belong to any of our personas, then we would be able to see them illustrated here. As well, if we collected any gender information about them, we would also know it here. However, for within this content, then I just have all unknown for both of these. And then you can also see the age ranges. They're also illustrated here. So it just really provides you some more statistical data so that as you are creating and performing different campaigns, then you can get some more detailed information about them. Now, as we are kind of going through here, then we also have a couple of other areas. And one of the big areas in which we have enhanced within Kentico 11 is going to be in regards to our e-commerce capabilities. Now, within our e-commerce capabilities, for any of our anybody that's on the call that has worked with e-commerce, then there are a number of things within the product coupons and discounting that we have enhanced and made changes to. The first one that I'm going to cover with today's time is the order discounts. So within the order discounts, this is now going to be fixed percentage amount. In Kentico 10 and also the preceding versions within Kentico, then you are able to do a flat amount as well as percentage amount. And now within the order discounts, you are allowed to just do simply a percentage amount. So that is what has been identified within here. And you can still define as your priority. So if they do have multiple different discounts applied to their order, you can identify what priority this should be held within. Another area is that it is applied after tax now. So that is another major enhancement where before it was before tax and now it's actually provided after tax. Now, the new area for the flat discounting is what we call as gift cards. So as I navigate into the gift cards, this is a completely different component within Kentico. And now this is going to provide you that flat amount within in which coupon code is going to be mandatory, where within the order discount, a coupon code is just optional. Now within here, it's also going to be applied after tax, after a discount, or any other areas that are applied. So if I go into the new gift card, here I have is just the general name and convention, which will generate the code name for you, where you can update that. You can add in a description for this gift card, what that flat amount is. So if this is like $15, $20, whatever the use case may be. You can also do a minimum order amount. You can do any type of further conditions. So maybe it has to be a certain type of product or whatever the use case is, the validity, so when it's valid from and to, and then who it's available for. So is it available for all visitors, registered users, or registered users in selected roles, in which you can see that there's no area here to say whether or not you want coupons. However, we'll go ahead and identify that further. So here we can go ahead and say our Christmas gift card. We can go ahead and add in description. So this is for Christmas 2017. And we can go ahead and have a fixed amount, which is this $25. We can say that the minimum order amount has to be $100. And this is going to be valid from now through the end of the year. And simply go ahead and save this. And now we have as a coupon. So now we can go ahead and generate the coupon codes, or we can go ahead and create the coupon code from within. We have to go ahead and apply this as it has to be associated to that. Now within here, there's also some additional areas, is that the product coupons that we made some additional enhancements to. So first I'm going to actually show you what products coupons look like in version 10 of Kentico. So anybody that has worked with Kentico in version 10 or all the proceedings, then this is the way that product coupons has always looked, which is very different or more on the lines with version 8 type styling within our UI for all the different discounts that we have enhanced. So here we just simply have as a display name, a coupon code, the discount, the amount, and the validity timeframes. Now within version 11, what we have done is we've made it focus more in lines with our UI structure of all the other discounts. So here we'll go into our product coupons. And now we can simply go ahead and enter a product coupon. And now we have as a similar UI as I just had showed you within the order discounts as well as the gift cards area. So here you also have the ability to add a discount scope. So this is another area that we have enhanced. So now you can apply it to products in a specific section or a specific department within a specific brand or in a collections. So I can go ahead and say products in a certain section, and I can go ahead and say anything within our brewer section this is going to apply to. I can exclude specific products if I wanted to, so I can exclude a specific product in this section. So I can go ahead and go into our brewers, expand all, and I want to exclude any of these items that may be listed within there. Now I also have the ability to define, do I want this to be a fixed amount or a percentage value, and then who it is available for. So again, all visitors, registered users, or registered users in specific roles. And then I can say the discounting proceeding. So when this is valid from as well as valid to. And if I want to apply lower priority discounts prior to this one. So those are some of the areas that we have entered within. So now I'm going to go ahead and navigate to our live view and actually demonstrate what some of these areas look like today. So if you were to actually go through a purchasing process. So now I'm going to go ahead and navigate to our store. And as I come into our store, I'm going to just simply click one of our coffees. Here I can go ahead and simply state that I want a 16-ounce bag. And here you can see that I have a discount here for 3 for 2. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I want 3 bags of this specific coffee. And I can go ahead and add this to my cart. Now, as you'll see, then it's going to go ahead and apply the discount to the lesser product. So if I remove this one, you can see that this one I have is a 5-pound bag, and it's currently at $91.32, where this one's only $7.70. Now, that means that I have a discount amount of $15.40, but if I remove this one, then you'll see that I'll get a $30.44 discount on this one, and now it decreases to $60.88 as we have applied it to go to the lower cost item. Here you can also add some additional discount coupons, or if there's any other additional discounts that apply to this order, they'll also display within this view. And then you can see the total including tax estimate is associated here. So this is automatically going to include the tax into the pricing. So now that we've kind of gone through all of those, some other major updates that I'm unfortunately not able to really demonstrate within today's time just because we are still in the beta version of this, but I do want to speak to these elements. First is the e-commerce integration. So within the e-commerce integration, then you're going to be able to provide more advanced e-commerce functionality from within Kentico. Now this is a fully built-in integration within Kentico that we have partnered with e-commerce on. Now we are still going to continue to enhance and support all of our e-commerce components within Kentico. However, for any of those projects that do require more advanced e-commerce capabilities, then we do have that integration that is provided that is going to seem seamless. So it's still going to seem as though you're still working within Kentico. It will be a module and a component all on its own. We have had a number of different webinars around this component specifically. However, some of the areas that it's going to provide you with is things like return management that Kentico currently does not support out of the box, as well as multi-store, SKU and product storing and product information. So those with version 10 or previous versions of Kentico, there are some limitations within version 11 as to the number of SKU and products that you can have from within depending on the license edition. So having that integration with e-commerce will also allow you the capabilities of having more SKUs and products that may precede your licensing today without having to upgrade your licensing. However, with going to the EMS version, then that does provide you the ability to have unlimited products within your environment, as well as provides you all of the online marketing features in which some of them I have highlighted today to really provide more of that user experience and customer journey aspect and provide a higher conversion and ROI within your website. Another area that we have enhanced is within Azure Search. So Kentico now has a full integration with Azure Search, allowing you to not only be restricted or limited to the Lucene.net search platform. So here, if I go into my Pages application, then I do have a brief illustration. However, I don't have an actual Azure environment set up quite yet, so that I will not be able to demonstrate fully. However, if I come in here and I go into my generator page, then I have is my setup for Azure Smart Search demo. So within here, you can simply go ahead and add in your index service as well as your index admin key, and then you can utilize and leverage the benefits of an Azure Search platform. So they provide more advanced search functionality, such as faceted search capabilities, as well as voice recognition. So there's a lot of different things that Azure Search can provide you that the Lucene.net platform is just a little bit restrictive to, and it's well known and also well notable search provider within the industry. And as you can note, that Bing actually uses Azure Search for their search platform. So those are just some of the major components in which I can actually demo within Kentico. Now we do have our full roadmap also listed on our website. So for those that are not aware of it, I will go ahead and go to that now, so that you can get an idea as to what we have built out currently within version 11, and then also what is going to be coming in version 12 as we are constantly building out what we're doing within here. So if I go into our product roadmap, I can go into this here. And now you can see is the release date. So you can see there Kentico 11 is going to be public next week. So as you can see, my actual version expires in 4 days prior to that release as the beta version. And here we can have is the cart calculation model that we reviewed, the faceted search, the enhanced support for HTML5 input types as well, which I'm not really able to demo that, but you do know that we do have better support for HTML5 within version 11 that's being released, the email builder that we went through, the campaign channel reporting as well, the marketing insights. So that was in the reporting areas within the marketing campaign. So being able to see the contact touch points as well as persona history within, as well as our Salesforce CRM connector. So this is going to be more enhanced. And then we have as our e-commerce component. So you can have multiple coupons per order. You have the fastest search through the Azure search capabilities, Google Analytics and e-commerce tracking. That's another area that we can go into. There's not much built in my environment as of right now within being in the beta mode. We also have the catalog categories that you have the capabilities of doing in the email marketing. So you can see that we added in personalization, plain text support, the view in browser, the CSS inlining, as well as the email source, read-only mode, pre-header support, and enhanced supporting. And then you can see some of the areas in which we're building out for milestone 3. So the MVC widgets aspect is actually getting pushed to version 12. So that's currently on pause, but it may also come out as a minor release as Carol has identified in a number of our roadshow events. The GDPR support, which we went through today, as well as, again, we went through all the e-commerce. So now I would like to go ahead and open it up. So I know that we have quite some time reminding, but I know that there's a lot of different elements and a lot of questions that a lot of you may have in regards to the areas that we have reviewed today. So I want to go ahead and open it up at this time and see if there are any questions in regards to the capabilities that I have demonstrated today and see if there's anything further that I can provide clarification on. All right, so I do see some questions coming in. So in regards to the email template updates, they want to know if there was any changes to dynamic email templates. So absolutely. So within the actual email templating itself, then you have the ability to create a more dynamic email template, as it is now just going to be within 3 zones. And within here, so it's going to be just widget zone. So if I go back into actually my other window, I'll go back into that email, and we can go into that a little bit more because I know that it is very extensive. So within here, then you have as your different email templates. So you can see that I have is the double opt-in. I have a 2-zone, a 3-zone, an email template, and a subscription template. So if I go into our 3-zone template here, then you have the ability to create this to be more dynamic, as you can easily build them in. Now we still have those 2 different feeds of emails. So the newsletter is going to be a more of a dynamic list, where an actual email marketing is going to be more of a static list, because the newsletter is going to be people that are constantly subscribing to that email. But here we have as all the components for building out this template for the email. So we have the template editor, which is all going to be coding, so I'm not going to go into that too much because I'm not overly technical. And then we can see the available widgets that are currently available for this specific one, so I can add additional widgets or I can remove widgets from within here. I can see the email feeds that this is currently applied to. And then we have is the full versioning from within here. So this is how you actually build out your template. And then if I go into the Dance and Go newsletter, in which this is currently being utilized for, and I'll actually go ahead and build out a new newsletter. So here I have is a test one that I went ahead and created, and I haven't really done anything with. So here I can go ahead and start building out this information. So welcome to version 11. I can simply go ahead and apply that. And then I can simply keep on building this out. So maybe I want to go ahead and add an image here. So I can go ahead and select an image from my environment. So it's very easy more for the business user or marketer to build this out. Does that answer your question? Hopefully. But proceeding, I'll go ahead and wait for that to be updated. In regards to the release of version 11, what version will drop off from being supported? So that's a great question. So version 8 is no longer going to be supported within Kentico. So only version 9, 10, and 11. So we always support 2 previous versions in the most current version within Kentico. So if any of you are on version 8 or previous versions of Kentico, I would recommend discussing with a partner or with a Kentico representative in regards to getting you to a more current version of Kentico to ensure that you do continue to have technical support. Great question. Next one is regarding the tax calculation and how it's handled if the tax is location based. If you can, so a use case that you have is that you've encountered is when a tax should only be charged for customers with a shipping address that is in the same as the state where the business is located. So in regards to that, I'm honestly not too familiar with it. I don't think that our taxing rules, because we're not actually managing any of like the tax amounts, you would still utilize an integration for that component. I do know that you can still, within the actual system settings, within the e-commerce, and the store configurations. Then here's where you can add in your tax classes, and you can add in all the different elements from within here. However, it's still going to have to tie into probably a third-party provider, or that is also something that e-commerce would be able to provide a little bit more information on here. So you would have to create a new sales tax for all those different regions that you want to have, and then you can base it on like IP or shipping address. You wouldn't want to do it on IP address. So yes, shipping address, and apply that sales tax that's specifically related to it. So you would just create one in here. So say that if you're from Wisconsin and anybody that's purchasing from Wisconsin, then you would create like a Wisconsin sales tax and then apply that based on the address for the shipping. So here you can go ahead and say the states that this applies to. Great question. Next question is if the upgrade path from version 8 or 9 to 11 is still sequential. So yes, at this point, then you still do have to do a sequential, if I can say that word, upgrade path. So if you are currently on version 8, then you would have to upgrade to version 9 and then 10 and then 11 to get onto the most current version from within Kentico. However, it is a lot easier to do the path. We are making it an easier and easier process for organizations, especially if you don't have a lot of custom coding and you've utilized best practices. It should be a fairly simple and seamless process. However, there are different things. We do also have different resources like the K Inspector, which is provided on our development website, which is our DevNet. So if I go to our Kentico DevNet, and if I go into the open source area, then we do have as a K Inspector. So this will inspect your environment and be able to tell you if there's any gotchas or things that you may want to be cautious of when you're doing and performing those upgrades. We also do have a number of upgrade expert partners, so we are more than happy to recommend over to work with you on those projects. Next question is if we are running Kentico 9 or 10, why should we upgrade to Kentico 11? We get this question a lot from their clients, and what are the benefits? So the benefits really fall in, well, what are they doing today within their project? So I would say one of the major benefits is that you want to keep updated on the latest versions just for continued support into the future from a technical perspective. Another area would be, okay, are they doing anything with online marketing or e-commerce today? And kind of taking those into consideration, because those are going to play heavily into that as we are continuously enhancing, and there are a lot to go from Kentico 9 to Kentico 11 or even to Kentico 10. And also kind of keeping into the understanding that version 9 come next year when version 12 is released, then it's not going to be supported anymore from a technical perspective. So they would eventually have to upgrade if they wanted to continue moving forward with Kentico. However, I would say probably the biggest area is going to be the GDPR component. So even though it's still not a thing within the United States specifically as of yet, it is still a huge data protection area. And this is not supported in Kentico 10 or 9 or 10. So Kentico 11 is where it's going to be fully supported in providing those consent requests for their data protection. And this even is in the US with the ADA compliance. So these are things that you're definitely going to want to keep, as it is going to apply to a lot of different people. The next question here is, how long after Kentico 11 release do you expect Kentico 10 to 11 upgrade code and upgrade utility to be released? It is released at the same time. So as soon as Kentico 10 or Kentico 11 is released next week, you will also find within our download area within our DevNet is going to be the upgrade information. So this will be released right as version 11 is released. Great questions. All right, any other questions from anybody in regards to version 11? All right, we got another one. All right, so Kentico considers splitting into 2 different CMS packages. So some don't use e-commerce or emails out of Kentico, and it seems like most of the upgrades recently have been built around those 2 features. So it would be nice to have a basic CMS version for mainly just content, and then the other one with e-commerce and email. Now, I would say that the e-commerce and email are components that are just automatically available in even our base CMS licensing, because they're just components that we want to provide to all to be able to utilize. Now, simply if the clients aren't utilizing those components, you can simply just turn them off in the background so that they're not seeing those applications within any of their views. I would say in regards to the enhancements, it's really the enhancements that we are doing are based on the feedback that we're receiving from partners as well as our clients within our forum. for request a new feature. So within there, that's really what we're basing it on. So if you have other areas that you would really like to see enhancements to, I would definitely put them in there. But I would agree that a lot of the online marketing features as well as the e-commerce features have been a component of focus for the version 9, 10, and 11 areas. However, we are also focusing on the capabilities of supporting .NET Core and MVC, which are going to be released as well, hopefully either as a minor release coming next year or within the version 12 release. So there's a number of different components. If there are other components of features and functionalities that you don't see within Kentico that you would like to be either added in or enhanced, then I do recommend going into the feature request area. So if I go into actually just your Kentico environment, then I go into the help button, here's where you can go ahead and request a new feature. And it's just going to be illustrated as a forum. You can vote up other people. So here we have this web farm licensing, more flexible for multi-tenant MVC sites. So that's an area, the ability to separate email based on type of different SMTP servers, improving automatic visitor language, culture check, MVC on free edition. So these are a number of different areas in which we do take this, we take all this information as we're starting to plan the next version release and look at the ones that have the highest votes and priorities that people are requesting, and then we look at those for putting them into the next version. So I'd absolutely recommend getting involved with this site if you're not already. Great question. All right, next question is Kentico's ability to connect to a third-party tax platform such as Cibrix or Vertex. So yes, absolutely. I know that we actually did have a couple in the marketplace already, but with our RESTful API, you absolutely do have the ability to connect in with any third-party tax platforms, in which I would say that the majority of our e-commerce clients are going to do, because it just is going to help simplify their lives a lot easier. Same thing with like currency exchange rates, as they're constantly changing, then you want them to be automatically updated and not have to go in there and constantly manually update them. But I do believe that there was some in here. So let me see. I don't see it now. Avalara. So we had Avalara, but I don't know if this one's updated at all. So this one's up to Kentico 10. So we do have the Avalara one. However, you can also connect in, again, with any other tax platform. As long as they have an API that we can tie into, then you can absolutely tie in the integration. Great question. Any other questions?
All right, not hearing any other questions. Jessica, thank you very much for your great presentation and sharing with us all that information about Kentico 11. As Jessica stated, Kentico 11 will be released on the 11th. I'm sure there's no coincidence there whatsoever with the date. We will produce this video and add some of the Q&A to it, and probably have it up in the next couple of days and send all the webinar attendees an email letting them know that the video is up there for viewing. If you have any additional questions, feel free, based off that email, to respond back, and we'll try and get some of those questions answered for you. Otherwise, I'm sure Kentico will have lots of more information coming out in, well, I guess just a few days from now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Virgil. And then if you have any questions in regards to sales, absolutely reach out to the Hi Monkey team. They can relay them back over to me, or they can help assist you with getting any of those answered. Or you can always just reach out to sales@kentico.com. We are also always happy to go ahead and answer any questions that you have or provide further information.
All right, thank you, everybody. I'm going to leave it open for just like one more minute in case somebody has a last-minute question. Otherwise, I'll be closing down the webinar.